So, in Elden Ring, there are many weapons that are considered rare, and there's a large majority that have a drop rate of less than 1%. Some of those weapons in those categories can be dropped by multiple weapons, and some can only be obtained by one. In today's video, we're going to be talking specifically about that, and one weapon in particular, because as the title suggests, I wanted to see what was the rarest weapon in Elden Ring, and just how good is it, and is it even worth the farm and the hassle to obtain it. So out of all of those weapons that it could be, what is the rarest weapon in Elden Ring? Like I say, there's many that are considered rare with a drop rate of less than 1%, but where there's multiple enemies that you can farm, for the majority of those weapons, there's only a few that are dropped by one particular enemy, which arguably makes it even more rare because you need to put more time into farming it, meaning less people are willing to do the graft to do that, making it obviously more rare. And after doing a bit of research, it became clear that there was one weapon in particular that was always coming up for this exact reason. That weapon being the Monk's Flame Blade. Now, like I say, the reason why it's so rare is because it only drops from one particular Flame Monk within all of Elden Ring, and he resides in the Giants Hero Pass, which is located obviously in the Mountain of the Giants. And it is a missable area, so there's every chance that some of you watching this have never even actually entered this particular catacomb. But on screen I'm going to be showing you the path to get there. It is pretty much on the way to the Fire Giant, but instead of going up the hill towards the boss area, you basically just hang a right. I think I'm coming down in this particular sort of showcase of where it is, so go back down the hill if you have gone up to the Fire Giant, hang left and basically follow the path and you will be led onto the hero of the Giant's catacomb. So once you've gone past all of those weird spider hands, as I call them, and jumped over the gap in the cliff, all you simply need to do is open the door and head down the elevator that's waiting for you inside. Once you reach the bottom, you'll be greeted by a Site of Grace, and this is going to be basically the start point of your farm, because from here you've got the doors in front of you, but more specifically, if you hang a left to enter the dungeon itself, you will in fact be greeted by a fire monk straight away. Unfortunately, he's not the one that we're after, and it's one of his friends hiding later on into the catacomb, but you can also kill him as a side note throughout the farming to also get the weapon that he drops, and also to try and farm for the fire monk armor set. So you can decide whether or not you want to kill him or not throughout the farming process, but if you do kill him, or just in general, if you hang a right, there's going to be an illusionary wall. Destroy that wall and head down the path, because this is going to allow you to avoid all of the enemies that are hidden in the room beneath. So head down that corridor and jump out the furthest window to avoid the attention of any enemies in the room below. Head into the tunnel that's right in front of you, but watch out for the fire, because it is again one of those tunnels where the pillars spew fire down that particular tunnel. But halfway down there's going to be a gap to the right where our good old friendly neighborhood fire monk is sitting, and that is where he's residing, and he is the one that we need to be farming to get this particular weapon. Now, just a quick tip as well, when you get to this place for the first time, make sure you've got Margit's Shackle, because using that actually stops the pillar that's spewing fire down the corridor, and even if you reset or go to the Site of Grace again, that pillar will still be down, so there'll be no more fire being spewed down the corridor, which makes everything a hell of a lot easier. Also, this particular weapon has, I think as a base, 4% of a drop rate, which I know at the beginning I said the majority of weapons have like a 1% drop rate, so they could be considered rarer, but where this particular enemy is the only one that drops this weapon, like I say, even with that slightly higher drop rate, it's still an absolute mission in order to get this particular weapon, as he's the only one that drops it. The fact that I'm in New Game Plus 5 as well in this gameplay, and this is really the only time I've ever killed this particular enemy, goes to show that this is incredibly missed in the game, and is still probably one of the rarest weapons that you will ever see throughout the game. But again, once you made the area nice and safe, another quick tip is to obviously boost your discovery. Arcane is the stat for that, so if you boost your Arcane up, your discovery points will also be boosted in the same instance. So again, higher Arcane means a higher chance of getting this weapon. Mix that with the Silver Scarab Talisman as well as the Silver Pickled Foulfoot, and you will gain an additional 50% increase in your discovery as well. So you can probably boost this up to say 10% with the right stats obviously accumulated on your character, and also utilizing both the talisman and also the silver pickled foul foot. And there's two ways that you can sort of reset the farm. If you don't want to lose your runes after killing him, simply run back to the site of grace, rest at it, and do it again. Or if you're not too bothered about your runes, you can use the memory of grace to simply teleport back after killing him. If he doesn't drop the weapon, just use that, teleport straight back, and rinse and repeat. If you do like I have done and actually run back to the site of grace because I want to keep a hold of my sweet runes, it takes about a minute per farm to get to the monk, kill him, and obviously reset. So yeah, you can pretty much do that process once per minute, which is relatively okay. It's not the worst in the world. But also on screen you're going to be seeing my stats. I'm not even using the silver scarab talisman, and my arcane is extremely low because I've been doing other videos recently and I've ran out of larval tears, so I actually can't change my stats from my previous video that I prepared for. But even still, with the incredibly low arcane and not even using the silver scarab talisman, simply only using the pickled foul foot to boost my discovery, I actually managed to get this in about 15 or 20 attempts. As you can only obviously do this once per run, it should really only take you about 20-30 minutes. Hopefully you can get it before me, but like I say, even myself, not with the right stats and not with the right boosts, I still managed to actually obtain this weapon fairly quickly. But of course, again, the main reason why I'm making this video, it's all well and good getting it, but how good is it, and is it even worth the hassle of even going to the Hero's Grace and wasting my sweet time trying to get it? I would say if you're sort of a fan of great swords, then potentially yes, because it is quite a nice heavy hitting sword just straight off the bat. After getting it, I took it straight obviously to the smithing table and increased it to plus 24, so I didn't use my legendary ancient dragon smithing stone. I just went as far as I could without using that. It mainly buffs with strength and dexterity, so if you've got a build around that, I would say it is probably something you'd like to do, especially if you like to collect all of the great swords in the game. It is an incredibly useful one and does heavy damage, and the Ash of War, the spinning slash that it comes with as standard, allows you to take out multiple enemies like you're seeing on screen right now, and also is a heavy hitter against most bosses because again it's just the base raw damage that you're dealing to them. Unfortunately, as much as it's wielded by a fire monk and is called the Monk's Flame Blade, there's no like fire aspect or fire effect on the sword. It is literally just base damage like any bog standard sword, but of course you can infuse it to whatever you want. So in actual fact, I went ahead and infused it with Lion's Claw and put bleed on it because we're looking to see what this weapon can do and unleash as much potential as possible. So bleed being one of the most useful aspects in this game, I wanted to see what it could do. And if you're an avid watcher of this channel, in my previous Elden Ring video we worked out that Lion's Claw is God's gift in terms of the basic Ash of Wars that you can apply to basic weapons, because it staggers enemies and deals a whole heap of damage to them at the same time as well. So using it against bosses like Radagon actually made it quite an easy fight. Like I say, I'm in New Game Plus 5, but I managed to do it again with relative ease. The Ash of War stunned him a couple of times, and also obviously just with the summon of the people around you as well in that fight. It definitely is a very useful weapon, especially late game, especially even carrying me through New Game Plus 5. It's more than capable of doing that. But for me personally, I'm not necessarily a big fan of like heavier weapons. I do prefer lighter weapons in this game, but even still, like I say, this weapon is more than capable of carrying you through multiple new games, and especially obviously putting bleed on it is just going to help it even more. But even the base damage, as I showed earlier, and just the base moveset is more than enough to carry you through the majority of the game. I would say maybe late game, I haven't tested it yet. It might fall off, I don't know, but I would have to start a New Game Plus to then take it against the late game bosses, because they're already cleared on this particular playthrough. But if you're using this weapon at home, do let me know if this is actually a weapon you enjoy using, and if it is capable of defeating, say, like Godfrey and also the Elden Beast. I don't know what you use, I don't know how you set it up, so let me know in the comments down below if you also use this weapon or if you have it, because that'll be interesting to know. And I know there's, like I say, many other rare weapons in this game, and if you have any suggestions for me to use any particular rare weapons that you think are rarer than this, do let me know in the comments down below what you think is rarer. I will try and farm it if I don't have it already, and also use it in the video. So yeah, like I say, do get in the comments down below to let me know. But like I say, going back to the original question, is it worth it? I'd say yes. Especially, like I say, if you're looking to have a new certain weapon in your armory for a great sword or anything like that, definitely try and farm this, give it a couple of goes. Hopefully, like I say, you can get it in anywhere sort of between 10 to 20 attempts, so it shouldn't really hopefully take you that long, and it is a viable weapon that you can use. As much as it's frustrating that it has no fire-based damage to it, even though it's tied to everything fire-based, it is sort of a bit of a letdown in that respect. But as for the actual weapon, it is a heavy hitter, and it does make relative ease of most bosses that I've come across, at least using this weapon. And the other side of it as well is the first monk that you come against can also help you get the armor set. I managed to actually get that for the first time, the complete set, the gauntlets, the hood, the armor, and also the greaves as well. So I now have the complete armor set for the fire monks, and it looks quite nice, as you can probably see on the screen here. So that's the added bonus as well. So you're not only farming for the weapon, but you may also get the full set in the meantime as well whilst doing the farm. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. I did put in quite a bit of time to look into this, and to also obviously farm the weapon for you and use it against multiple bosses to see just how good it is. So a like and a subscribe would be greatly appreciated if you can do that. We're actually aiming for 5,000 subs by the end of the year, so why not contribute to that? It's free. You can just click the button down below, and if you don't want to be involved in the future, you can always unsubscribe. So why not give it a go? Hit the button down below. I think I said a red one, but now it's white, isn't it? Because YouTube have done the update. So hit the white button down below that says subscribe, and whilst you're down there, if you happen to like the video, do leave this video a like as well. That'll be greatly appreciated. It lets me know that you're enjoying this type of content, and I'll also make more in the future. But before I bang on too much about that, I will let you guys go. So hopefully you have an amazing rest of your days, guys, and I will catch you in the next video of whatever it is that I make. Bye bye.